Look around. You built this machine where half the damn country part with money and power to chew up the other half that didn't have anything to begin with. Watch it work.
I feel like a god.
I teach these young kids to be good, honest cops.
Go, police!
The rest is up to them. I'm not a dirty cop.
Mr. the Madness, I'm living.
Yeah, what's going on, fam? It's your man VACAY-J, and yes, I'm back with another video. This is for We Own This City on HBO. This comes from the producers of The Wire, and absolutely, definitely a big fan of The Wire, so this definitely has a Wire feel, and absolutely, we're gonna break this down. I'm gonna do the recap, and yeah, it's very, very intense, family. Shout out to my Baltimore fam out there. You already know what's going down, and yes, I'm gonna break all of this down for y'all, and we're gonna check this out. All right, fam, so you know what it is. Let's get it. All right, so we first start off with Sergeant Wayne Jenkins with the Strap Trace Task Force, and he's training these new recruits for his department. And he's basically breaking down how, yeah, you don't want to be cracking heads out there. You definitely want to get information. Information is key on the streets because nobody's going to tell you anything if you're beating them over the head. So he's talking about making sure that you don't abuse your power, making sure that you definitely get all the information that you can so you can bring in the high profile guys. And yes, if you keep just beating folks up and everything else like that, yeah, it's just gonna end up with them getting out because there's nothing on them because you're not getting the right information. So he's telling these new recruits that if they just wanna go out there and, you know, abuse their power and everything, then they don't need to be on his task force. They absolutely wanna do it right and they wanna get it in. Their hands are not tied, but they're gonna get all the information that they need to get the straps off the street. That's their whole mission, to get the straps off the street. And he seems like a pretty hot shot type of sergeant type of dude, but they also show him walking the beat. This is probably before he became a sergeant, and he's out there on the beat, walking the streets, making his presence felt. And yeah, it looks like this is the beginning of him abusing his power at the same time he's telling these new recruits, right? So this is showing his beginnings of him harassing people, abusing his power, and making his presence felt on the street. Of course, you already know we are not feeling that at all. This gentleman right here is not feeling that. And yeah, he sees that he's letting people know that he's in control. Then we shoot to an investigation going on with this guy right there. He's also a cop. They call him G Money, right? And his real name is Mamadou Gondo. And he's talking to the feds. Looks like he made a deal. They caught him up. He's one of the corrupt cops. And yes, he's under investigation. And yeah, he's letting them know that to asking about Wayne. And he's like, yo, Wayne is a whole different type of cop. He understands things differently. So now we see a warrant going on. And yeah, you see Wayne Jenkins and his crew. They're about to run up into this stash house, right? So they get the straps ready. And yeah, they're about to run up in this stash house to find what they need to find. So they go up in there. Of course, they don't show a warrant or nothing. They just knock on the door talking about, yeah, Baltimore police. They find some straps in the couch, right? They go upstairs, of course, to look and see what's going on. And yeah, this is the beginning also where they do find some straps and probably some money as well. And he's probably looking at a whole bunch of money right in the closet. So yeah, we see now Jenkins, Wayne Jenkins, talking to Detective Suter. Now, they used to be partners back in the day. Of course, they both got promotions. Wayne is a sergeant now, but Suter is a detective in homicide. And he's letting them know, yeah, he was in his area. And if he needs anything, you know, to let him know. But Suter, he has a feeling that, yeah, Wayne is definitely up to no good. And he knows about it as well because he was probably part of it. Now we shoot back to Gondo, and he's talking to the feds. And again, they're asking him about certain people. And he's really not telling them too much, but he's really questioning how they found out about them. How did they come about finding out about him and his boys being corrupt? Of course, you know, one of the guys, the Fed guy, he's like, yo, it's complicated. He's like, yeah, word. I know, you know what I'm saying? So it's really not too much, but we're going to see a lot going on with Gondo. Now we're going to shoot back to 2015 in Bel Air, Maryland. And we see this guy right here. And yeah, they wake him up because he almost OD'd, right? But they woke him up, but his little girlfriend, yeah, she didn't make it. So Hawk is a detective, and we got McDougal, and they're asking him about this spider labeled, you know, product. And he's like, well, I got it from, you know, the city and everything else like that. It's like, okay, who did you get it from? Well, this guy named Black. It's like, yo, we need more information. Like, where'd you get it from? And the kid said he got it from an area called the Aldameda, right? From this guy named Anderson. So he starts crying because his girl is gone. He says, sorry for your loss. And now we have McDougal and Hawk, and they are going to investigate. He did give him a name, Anderson. So now they're going to look up this guy, Anderson. Now we see Nicole Steele. She's part of the Department of Justice, and she is rolling through the streets, and she sees a whole bunch of people recording. And it looks like a cop is trying to arrest this guy. They got him on the ground, but everybody has their cameras out. You know, this is a lot going on. They're going to make sure that they get all documentation if there's any deaths going on, right, with these cops, or in the hands of the cops. So she's surprised, so she starts recording as well, and she's seeing what's going on. She's seeing that there's a lot going on here, but the cops pretty much, because they got cameras on them, they just give up. They say, all right, police yourselves, and they walk away. And of course, the people are like, yeah, you're not going to go get away with craziness or injustice. So, you know, the people of Baltimore, they're not playing, and they're letting them know that, listen, we got recorders on you, and you're not going to get away with any murders, right? So now we got McDougal and Hawk, and they are looking up this guy, Anderson. They're trying to find out where he could be. And they find out that, yeah, he possibly is on in a certain district, right? So they said they're going to call this guy Fitzpatrick to get more information to see if he's on the case as well. So now we see at the Office of Civil Rights, we see Nicole Steele. She goes up in there and she's talking to her counterpart, and they're talking about what happened on the street. And he asks her, hey, do you know about what happened on the east side? She's like, yeah, I was just over there picking up something. And they put the video, you know, the folks put the video up on YouTube. And he's like, you know what happened? He's like, yeah, the guy was on the ground. They left him on the ground. She's like, nope, I recorded it. The police pretty much gave up and walked away. And they're like, yeah, there's a lot going on in the city, and we're gonna have to find out what's really going on with the cops and what's happening, right? This is all after Freddie Gray. So now we got Ahmed, and Ahmed is a trial attorney, and the Department of Justice sent him down to help out Nicole Steele with this whole investigation and everything else like that. They're talking about making sure that if Trump gets in office, then he won't have a job. And he's like, well, what? Seriously? Like, he has no chance of winning. Of course, we know the truth. We know what happened. So she's like, welcome. This is going to be a crazy ride, but we're going to do it together, right? So he's like, okay, he's ready to rock, but he has no idea about what he's going to get into. So now we're at the office, Fitzpatrick's office, Detective Fitzpatrick, and McDougal goes to talk to him to see if he's on the case, if he knows anything about this guy Anderson. Come to find out, yes, they've been investigating Anderson and a couple of other guys. So, you know, McDougal's like, listen, we got some information on them, and they pretty much join forces and say, hey, they're going to work together to crack this case. They both want the same things. So now we're at the Alameda, and yeah, your boy Hawk gets some coffee. They're basically doing a stakeout. They're waiting for Anderson, his name is Aaron Anderson, to show up with his Jeep, okay? So they're out there just investigating the scene, and yes, Anderson finally shows up, and he shows up to do his business. So they see him, they have cameras on the poles and everything, and yes, they get his license plate. And of course, they're gonna run his license plate and definitely stay on him. And they have a picture of him dealing with the folks on the block. Now we shoot over to the mayor's office, and of course, Nicole Steele and Ahmed, they're talking to the mayor, and she's questioning why she got rid of the police chief. And she basically says that she doesn't trust him. And there's a lot going on since Freddie Gray, since the murder of Freddie Gray. Yeah, the cops definitely haven't been arresting a lot, and there's a whole lot of corruption going on. And she lets Nicole Steele know that she is resigning. She is not going to run again for office because everything that's going on is crazy and it's out of control. So yes, if she steps down, that gives Nicole Steele and Ahmed and the Department of Justice more work to do. But the work that is being done basically is like, listen, the politician that wants to get it done, the next politician that comes in, we have to work with them and see if they're going to actually do something about all the work that we're putting in. So now we have Hawk and McDougal. They are at Aaron Anderson's place, right? So they find out that the place belonged to his girlfriend. His girlfriend is staying there. One of his girlfriends is staying at that particular apartment. They're waiting for him to go in. And once he goes in and settles, Hawk goes out and puts a tracker on his Jeep. So now they're going to track him. Here goes Nicole Steele. Now she's at the office of the public defender. And he's been on a public defender for about 12 years, so he knows a lot of information. So she lets him know that there's been a lot of complaints against a lot of cops. And he mentions the name Daniel Hurst. So Daniel Hurst, now we see him stopping a gentleman and his son. And he's saying that he didn't stop at the stoplight. He just rolled through it. He said, what did you want me to do? Just sit there and park? So he looks at him for a while, tells him to get out of the car to give him his license and his registration. He pretty much snatches his wallet out of his hand. He's like, what's going on? So he goes through his wallet and he starts throwing all his cards on the ground and really just being a jerk. And really just like, oh, okay, I see. Oh, you live in this neighborhood? Oh, congratulations. It's a nice neighborhood. He's like, listen, man, just, obey the law and don't give me so much back talk, right? Just really being a jerk about it all. Like, seriously, didn't even have to pull him over. So, of course, he's embarrassing him in front of his son. And this is where all the abuse really starts, the harassment and everything. And, of course, we do not feel that at all, right? So now we got McDougal and Fitzpatrick. They're going to their boss to try to get a warrant, right? He gives her all the information to lead them to, making that arrest. So she's like, okay, you guys get on it, make it happen. And they got a tracker on the car, so they know exactly where it is and what he has. So they're giving her all the information so they can make this arrest on Aaron Anderson. And she's like, okay, let's make it happen, get the warrant going and push forward. So now Aaron Anderson, he leaves the apartment, right? And we're thinking that, nobody's in the apartment. He's just leaving out to do whatever he needs to do. A car rolls up, and who do we see? Your boy Gondo and his other guys, and they are all cops. So they roll up in Aaron's spot, and they pretty much rob the spot with Aaron's girlfriend inside. So Hawk is filling out the paperwork for the warrant, but McDougal finds that he's making a lot of mistakes, and it's going to take a long time for them to get this warrant done if there's a lot of mistakes. So it's taking a lot of time. Gondo's outside just waiting for them to come down. They finally come down, they robbed the spot, took all the money, took whatever else that was in there, and they just talking about to make sure that, the girl didn't see him. They were all masked up, so nobody saw him go in and out. So now Hawk and McDougal are talking to their boss, and they're like, we found out there is another location where he rests his head at the Red Roof Inn, and they need another warrant to get that done so they can roll up in that spot too. So she's like, okay, well, it's 2 different spots. We'll go in 2 different spots and roll up in there with 2 different warrants. So now McDougal, Fitzpatrick, and Hawk, they're about to make moves. Come to find out, internal affairs are there. And they're making sure that, when they raid the spot, there's no sticky fingers, that they don't steal anything. And they're like, does this go on in the city? Of course it does, right? They steal money and everything. So now we got Nicole Steele. She gets around. She's talking to a judge, and she's asking the judge, hey, listen, there's a whole lot of complaints, and how are these cops still out there on the street? And he's like, a lot of complaints don't stick and they don't, pretty much sustain. So there's a list of cops that committed perjury on the stand, and they can't go on the stand anymore because they're lying on the stand. So there's a list, but the judge even pulls up Daniel Hurst's name as well. He mentions his name. So Daniel Hurst's name is just ringing bells. They know who he is, but his name is not on the list yet. So they don't have anything on him. So now we shoot back to Daniel Hurst again, pulling over somebody, harassing this guy, and his boys is looking through the car, looking to see if there's any product in the car and anything like that. He's looking at stuff, and the guy's like, there was nothing in there, right? So he's like, man, see, I told you there's nothing in there, right? And people are looking on. He's like, man, you know what? F you, right? So he does that, and Daniel Hurst rolls up on him and bumps him. He bumps him, right? He's like, oh, look, see, he touched me. That's police harassment. I mean, he's just really trying to provoke the dude, turns him around, he says, get on the ground, and knocks him in the head on the ground. Man, everybody's watching, and they're like, what is going on? And he's like yelling at the guy's leaking on the ground. He's like, yo, what the heck, man? What you gonna bring me in for? Oh, for, harassment and, just trying to hit on a cop and everything, right? So he's bleeding out. He's like, yo, you beating me up, man. This is crazy. This is messed up, right? So the other cop is like, yo, I'm not calling in no police wagon, man. I'm calling in an ambulance, man. You banged on him, and I'm not going down for any of your stuff. You know what I'm saying? So we see Daniel Hurst, man, he is a big problem, and yeah, he's gonna have to go down too. So now we see Gondo and his boy Damon, right? And yeah, they celebrating on the robbery of Aaron Anderson. And this guy right here, he looks like to be an informant as well, because he's like, yeah, Anderson probably gonna think that I sent my goons up in there, but it is what it is. He's a broke dude now, so they're celebrating. But yeah, this guy's gonna have to watch his back now because Aaron went down. So now we see Fitzpatrick, and they're about to go into Aaron's apartment. So they got the guys about to roll up in there. And then at the Red Roof Inn, we got Hawk and McDougal, and then they got the guys about to roll up in the spot to get Aaron to see if he's there as well. But he's there with another girl, right? So they're waiting on him. They finally break in to the apartment, right? And then they see Aaron and this other girl at the Red Roof Inn, and they capture them, right? Tell them to put their hands up and everything. They got everything out, right? The shields, like he's like real dangerous, right? So they finally arrest Aaron as well. So now Fitzpatrick is talking to McDougal, and he's like, yo, there's nothing in here. There's no stash. There's no money. There's no nothing. And it looks like somebody already broke in and robbed the place. He's like, yeah, we're going through the hotel room, but there's nothing here either. They don't got nothing going on. So Fitzpatrick's like, all right, well, listen, don't forget to get that tracker on the car because the tracker is expensive. They keep talking about this tracker being expensive. So Hawk, he goes to the Jeep to pull a tracker. So he pulls a tracker off of the muffler, and he looks at it. He's like, yo, what is this, right? Like, this doesn't look like the tracker that he put on. So he pulls the other tracker, and that's his tracker. So he's like, yo, it's two different trackers. What the heck? How is there two different trackers on the car, right? Yeah, so now, again, Nicole Still, we shoot back to her, and now she's talking to the police chief, right? And she's like, listen, how is this one guy, Daniel Hurst, on the street still, and he has multiple complaints? He's like, well, because none of them stuck, like none of them sustained, right? And he's just like, listen, there's another guy, he has complaints, but 5 of his complaints stuck, and I could take him down because he has 5 complaints that are staying, but Hurst, we can't take him down because he only has 1. So it's like crazy how this thing works. So now they find out where that tracker came from, this guy named Cluel, right? John L. Cluel. He's like, who is John L. Cluel, and why does he have a tracker on the Jeep that we're investigating? Now they show John L. Cluel, and he's down with Gondo and the rest of the guys, right? Come to find out, John L. Cluel, from what Hawk is saying, he was a jarhead, so that means he was in like the military of some sort. And yeah, now he's down with the Strap Task Force, right? So he's down with the Strap Task Force, and that's probably who Gondo and the rest of them are down with as well. So they're down with Wayne Jenkins, okay? So they're like, yeah, well, we need to let him know. And McDougal's like, listen, I'm going to hold on to it, and we'll talk to them about it. But if they ask about the tracker, then we'll tell them that we got it. But McDougal's going to tell the feds what's going on, that they don't know these guys, and these guys are doing some underhanded things, right? It just looks fishy. So now we got Gondo and his crew, and he pulled a guy over, searching for some stuff. And, Cluel's like, yo, what happened to that tracker, man? I need it back. It's expensive, right? So now here comes their sergeant, right? He comes over. He's like, yeah, I'm coming to see what you guys are doing, see if you need any help. I was in the area. And he's looking all serious, but he's joking around with Gondo and his crew, right? He's like, yeah, I just wanted to make sure you guys were cool. He's laughing and joking. He seems like he's not a serious cop. He's probably in on the corruption as well. He's like, yeah, I'm just going to go over here and get some food or whatever. And then Gondo, he goes to the back. He says they pulled him over for an obstructed license, and he makes sure that that frame is on the license, man. So corrupt, man. So corrupt, right? So now we shoot back to Gondo. He's locked up, right? Present day. And they're talking to him. And again, they're asking about other people as well. And yeah, Gondo, he really is like informing them of a lot of different things. And he's about to be the one that's going to snitch on everybody. And we can tell, yeah, he is going to lay it all out because, yeah, he's probably making a deal with the feds so he doesn't get locked up in jail for a long time. So now we see Wayne Jenkins. Back to him, boy. He is a hot shot. He's talking to all the chiefs, right? All the deputies. And he's letting them know, like, yeah, you know, our arrests are up. I know the city is down, but, you know, we're the strap task force. And, you know, we make sure that things get done and we make sure we go in. Meanwhile, looks like his boss, his chief, is looking all impressed and smiling and everything. Probably got something going on with him. And one of the deputies is like, listen, how did you get that warrant done? He's like, oh, I got a guy that I work with for years. So now we see the chief of police and his guy saying, hey, listen, it is what it is. Yeah, Wayne Jenkins, he's done some things. We got to take him in. We got to bring him in. So now we see Wayne Jenkins and we see the chief talking to the other chief. It's like, yeah, have this officer come to the department because the Internal Affairs Department wants to see him, right? But they tell him that, yeah, he forgot to report something. So he goes to the police department and he doesn't know that, yeah, the FBI is waiting for him to take him in. So they take him down, FBI, they take him down, arrest him, put him in handcuffs, right? He's like, get off me, you're hurting me in the whole nine, right? So now he's in the office, he's waiting to be questioned. And yeah, the chief says he wants to have a moment with him. So he goes in there just to look into his eyes. And he just sits there and look at him like, what? Like, you got something to say to me? What's up? And yeah, the chief is just like, yeah, this guy, man, he's guilty. So he goes out, he lets the feds go in there to, you know, investigate him. And he's talking to his guy. He's like, yeah, man, the others looked away, but he definitely didn't look away. He definitely did it, right? So yeah, we got Wayne Jenkins. He's looking at the feds and he's like, yo, do you know who I am? I mean, man, listen. So that is the recap of episode 1. Family, this is going to be a pretty intense series, man. I'm telling you right now. I mean, they got some heavy hitters up in here as far as acting. But yeah, it's about to go down, fam. So let me know your thoughts, your theories on this. Let me know what you think about the first episode. I'm going to continue to do this because, yeah, this is definitely going to be a great series in my personal opinion. So again, you know what it is, fam. If you're brand new to the channel, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, absolutely like, and comment below. Go ahead and smash that like button for me. And again, I appreciate you all for watching. So listen, if you thought this video was crazy, definitely check out the next one. Salute.